Hi everyone, and welcome back to Skill 10, where we're going to be talking about how we can convert back and forth between moles and liters. So this should be a pretty straightforward thing because you already know how to do this kind of a calculation. We're just using equivalent fractions. So the relationship that you should know for this is that 1 mole is equivalent to 22.4 liters. So if you're given a problem that reads something like number 1, where it asks you to determine the volume in liters occupied by 0.03 moles of some gas, well, the best and easiest way to do this is to set up some equivalent fractions. So the left side of your equivalent fraction should always be exactly the same. It should say 1 mole divided by 22.4 liters. This part never changes. When you set this equal to the secondary fraction, then the second fraction needs to have the mole value on the top and the liter value on the bottom. So in this problem, I'm given the number of moles, 0.03 moles. So that number is going to go on the top, and I'm trying to solve for the volume, or x, on the bottom. If I simply then set these two fractions equal to each other and cross multiply, that allows me to solve for x as 0.672 liters. So that's it. That's all we need to do here. If you are asked to find volume and all you're given is moles, then the simplest and easiest thing to do is set up these equivalent fractions where you know 1 mole is 22.4. So that, like I said before, the top side of the fraction, the left side of the fraction should always look exactly the same. And then the right side of the fraction should always also read mole over volume, where you're just inputting the value that you do know and solving for the thing that you don't. So let's try that with a few problems below and see how you do. So let's start out with number 2. Try that quickly and see what you get. Okay. When you solve that, did you get this as your final answer, 0.5 moles? If not, go back, double check your setup, and make sure that when you set this up, you have the left side of the fraction looking exactly as I have it set up here, and then your right side of the fraction should have x on the top and the 11.2 liters on the bottom. And then when you cross multiply, you should get 0.5 moles. Okay, give number 3 a try. Okay, did you get this as your final answer? I hope so. If not, go back and double check what it is you did wrong. Let's try number 4 next. Okay, how about that? Did you get that as your final answer? Check it if you did not. All right, number 5. Let's do this one. Okay, hopefully you got 0.75, oops, that should say 0.75 moles. Hopefully you got that as your final answer. Okay, so then let's look at a problem where there's a slightly different wording here. So given the reaction at standard temperature and pressure, and so the reaction is saying 2 Al2O3s make 2 aluminums and 3 O2s. How many liters of O2 gas are produced in the above balanced reaction? Well, here's my O2 gas, and you might be looking at this thinking like, well, I don't know anything about moles. How could I possibly solve this? Well, those numbers that are given to you in front of the formulas, those are telling you the number of moles. So when it says 3O2, that 3 is telling you the number of moles of oxygen. So without having to explicitly write out that this thing makes 3 moles of oxygen, you should be able to look at that equation and see that that 3 means 3 moles of oxygen. So if you know that 3 moles of oxygen, can you solve this problem? So when you solve this, you should have gotten an answer of 67.2 liters if you used 3 moles of oxygen. Okay, I want you to try number 7. Number 7 is a bit of a challenge question. So the reason it is a challenge is because I'm giving you a chemical formula here, but I also gave you some additional piece of information up here in the problem where I'm saying it's 14.5 moles of the oxygen. But I'm not asking about oxygen, I'm asking about water. So if I give you this piece of information here and this piece of information here, can you solve this to find out how many liters of water get made in this problem? So I'm going to let you see if you can figure out the answer first, and then we'll come back and take a look at it together. Okay, so if you take a look at this problem, then in this formula here, you would notice that it is saying that it takes 2 H2s, 1 O2 to make 2 H2Os. So this statement here, that it takes 1 mole of O2 to make 2 moles of H2O, is something that should be, you should understand how to read that now based on looking at that chemical equation. But that's not what is happening in this problem. In this problem, I'm saying that we started with 14.5 moles. So if the question indicates that we actually had 14.5 moles of oxygen to start, that would mean that we make twice as many waters in the end, so we make 29 moles of water in the end. So now that I've told you this and that you are starting with 29 moles of water, not 2 moles, not 14.5 moles, we're starting with 29 moles. Can you now figure out what the volume of water should be? All right, if you use the 29 moles, you should get a final volume of 649.6 liters. Okay, and that's it. We are now done with our notes on the kinetic molecular theory and gas laws. Congratulations. So at this point, you should start spending some time looking through the practice packet so that you can see if you can complete lots of different types of problems that are associated with all the different skills that we've spent time on throughout this unit. Okay, thanks again, and I'll see you for our next unit. Have a good day.